Okay, thank you. The Security Council just finished its deliberation on the report of Mr. Tor Wensland on the implementation of Security Council Resolution 2334. It is extremely disappointing to listen to the report that there is no progress in the implementation of Security Council Resolution 2334 because the occupying authority is persisting on its breach of international law by continuing to build and expand settlements. And the Security Council remain paralyzed and not resorting to action in order to enforce the implementation of that resolution as well as other resolutions. It is also interesting to observe that members of the Security Council, again, they say the principled correct thing, yet they do not move in the direction of implementation of their resolutions and implementation of what they observe as need to be done. And I think it is high time for the Security Council to move in the direction of implementation than in the direction of advising and describing the situation and not taking practical step in that direction. Of course, this makes our initiative for admission of the State of Palestine more needed than ever, because so far it is the only practical proposal before the Security Council to defend and protect the two-state solution, and we do not have before us proposals different than this proposal to defend and protect the two-state solution in a practical way. We will continue engaging with members of the Security Council on this issue and other issues, and it would be a very responsible thing from the Security Council and the UN as a whole to propose practical steps on the basis of where there is global consensus, such as the two-state solution and the basis of the two-state solution, but yet they are not taking the step of opening doors for a meaningful political process to begin the implementation of this global consensus. It is also very sad to listen to some who acknowledge the intensification of the aggression against our people, particularly in Jenin today, in which the reports either 4 or 7 Palestinians killed and 44 injured, and yet the Security Council is not shouldering its responsibility to stop this intensification of aggression against our people, as was reported by the Special Representative Tor Wensland, in which he indicated that this year, since the beginning of this year, there is the largest number of casualties on the Palestinian civilian side, more than 80 killed, and more than 7,500 people injured. And yet, the Security Council is not taking practical steps and measures to stop this onslaught against our people. They are just observing the explosiveness of the situation without taking any noticeable practical step to stop it. We condemn this aggression against our people and the murdering of Palestinians in Jenin, Nablus, and in all parts of the occupied territory. And we urge the Security Council to shoulder its responsibility to stop this attack and to move quickly in the details of providing protection for the civilian population in the occupied territory. We will continue working with the SG, with the Security Council, with the General Assembly on all these files, and to urge them to move as quickly as possible in the direction of providing protection for our people. If you have questions, I will respond to them. Yes.
Ambassador, thank you for doing this stakeout. Disappointing that the Special Coordinator, again, is not taking questions from the press. With regard to the peace process, can you give us your thoughts on why the Security Council is not taking the lead that you want? Is it because of the lack of US leadership? Is it because the whole international community is preoccupied by Ukraine?
Well, first of all, you should ask members of the Security Council that question. It's a very important question. But I think that in your question, you alluded to it. Part of it is related to the global situation that we know. And other part of it, people still are continuing to wait for so-called, better conditions. There will never be better conditions. There is global consensus in what needs to be done. Then make your mind and begin the process of implementation. We will continue working with them to move into that direction. It is not sufficient to correctly reiterate principled and correct position. What we need is to move from the theoretical to the practical, to move in the direction of implementation. And I think that that was one of the key messages from the speech of President Mahmoud Abbas in the General Assembly, in which he said, you have many resolutions, begin the process of implementing these resolutions. He said close to 100 resolutions in the Security Council. The last one is 2334, in which we listened to the quarterly report from the Special Coordinator. And there are hundreds of resolutions in the General Assembly that also, in general, particularly on the political front, have not been implemented as they were intended to do. So that message that was conveyed reflect the feelings and the mood of the Palestinian people, which is angry and frustrated, and correctly so, from waiting and waiting and waiting since the Nakba time. And yet we are asked to wait and to wait and to wait for what? To see more children killed, to see the situation getting more exploding. What we need is to move in the direction of implementation in order to address the needs of our people and the needs for peace. Edith?
Just a question. How important will the results of the Israeli election be in terms of moving forward?
Well, if the Israeli public elect and support those who would advocate negotiation with the Palestinian side, acknowledge that there is no solution except the solution of ending the occupation, and therefore to actualize the two-state solution on the ground on the basis of international law and relevant UN resolutions and the global consensus, including the Arab Peace Initiative and the principle of Land for Peace of Madrid. If, as we heard, that the majority of the Israeli public is in favor of the two-state solution, let's hope that they demonstrate that in this upcoming elections and elect those who advocate that position. For us, our president made our position crystal clear in his statement in the General Assembly, and he said that he spent all of his life fighting for peace. He is ready for peace any moment. The other side is ready for it, but on the basis of the global consensus, as we heard from many speakers inside the Security Council reiterating that position. So the election is not very far away from now, and we will see what the results will be. But the Security Council cannot keep waiting. They have to act, and they have to act as quickly as possible. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ambassador, do you have any comment on the UK new Prime Minister is talking about or considering moving the embassy? Have you any comment on that? Very quickly, sorry. I know it wasn't mentioned in the meeting, but it's quite important.
When the issue of President Trump announcing the recognition of Jerusalem as the capital of the State of Israel and moving the embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, 14 members of the Security Council, including the representative of the UK, voted against that position. It was 14-1 veto. Ambassador Nikki Haley casted the only vote. We believe that that correct position, in line with international law and Security Council resolution, is the correct position held by now should be 15 members of the Security Council, and the UK should continue to respect its obligation under the Charter, and it should respect Security Council resolutions, which they are crystal clear on the issue of Jerusalem, and continue to respect such obligations and their positions. But we don't want to engage in discussions and speculations, but we hope that they will stay in that position and uphold the positions that they've held for many years with regard to Jerusalem and Security Council resolutions. Thank you.